2 Samuel chapter 5. Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. Also in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou wast he that leddest out and broughtest in Israel. And Yahweh said to thee, Thou shalt feed my people Israel, and thou shalt be a captain over Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to the king of to Hebron, and to King David made a league with them in Hebron before the Yahweh, and they anointed David king over Israel. David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years. In Hebron he reigned over Judah 7 years, and in 6 months. And in Jerusalem he reigned 30 and 3 years over all Israel and Judah. And the king and his son went to Jerusalem unto the Jebusites, the inhabitants of the land, which spoke unto David, saying, Except thou take away the blind and the lame, thou shalt not come in hither, thinking, David cannot come in hither. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, the same as the city of David. And David said on that day, Whosoever getteth up to the gutter, and smiteth the Jebusites, and the lame and the blind, that are hated of David's soul, he shall be chief and captain. Wherefore they said, The blind and the lame shall not come into the house. So David dwelt in the fort, and called in the city of David, and David built round about from Milo and inward. And David went on and grew great, and Yahweh Elohim, the Lord God of hosts, was with him. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David, and cedar trees, and carpenters and masons, and they built David an house. And David perceived that Yahweh had established him king over Israel, and that he had exalted his kingdom for his people Israel's sake. And David took him more concubines and wives out of Jerusalem after he was come from Hebron, and there were yet sons and daughters born to David. And these be the names of those that were born unto him in Jerusalem: Shammua, and Shobah, and Nathan, and Solomon, Ibhar, also Elishua, and Nepheg, and Japhiah, and Elishama, and Eliadad, and Eliphalet. But when the Philistines heard that they had anointed David king over Israel, all the Philistines came up to seek David, and David heard of it and went down to the hold. The Philistines also came and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And David inquired of Yahweh, saying, Shall I go up to the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into my hand? And Yahweh said unto David, Go up, for I will doubtless deliver the Philistines into thine hand. And David came to Baal Perazim, and David smote them there, and said, Yahweh hath broken forth upon mine enemies before me, as the breach of waters. Therefore he called the name of that place Baal Perazim. And there they left their images, and David and his men burned them. And the Philistines came up yet again, and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And when David inquired of Yahweh, he said, Thou shalt not go up, but fetch a compass behind them. and come upon them over against the mulberry trees. And let it be, when thou hearest the sound of a going in the tops of the mulberry trees, then thou shalt bestir thyself, for then shall Yahweh go out before thee to smite the host of the Philistines. And David did so as Yahweh had commanded him, and smote the Philistines from Geba until thou come to Gezer. And that concludes 2 Samuel chapter 5. Thank you for viewing. It blesses me to know that David inquired of Yahweh, and Yahweh told him, go up, don't go up. Go around behind them and wait until you hear a certain sound in the mulberry trees, then attack. Yahweh guided his steps and was a light unto his feet. And he was victorious because Yahweh was with him to make him victorious. It's an awesome thing to have a God on your side, to have the God on your side, the true God. And yes, there is a true God. He does live. At least that's the way I measure it. As you measure it, so shall it be measured unto you. That's another thing that Jesus said that I have latched onto and written it on the tablets of my heart. You might want to try that yourself. Ta.